On June 22, 1941, Germany and the Axis allies began the invasion of the Soviet Union named Operation Barbarossa. Barbarossa was the largest military attack of World War II and would take a serious toll on Russia. Barbarossa was based on a massive attack based on blitzkrieg. Hitler described such an attack saying, "When the attack on Russia starts, the world will hold its breath." In Operation Barbarossa, 3 army groups attacked Russia. The Army Group North, led by von Lieb, the Army Group Center, led by von Bock, and the Army Group South, commanded by von Rundstedt. Though Russia had a large army, the purges had taken out a big part of the senior commanders. In total, Germany amassed 117 army divisions for the attack. Russia amassed 132 army divisions for defense, including 34 armored divisions. Hitler's plans for the attack began in 1940, which he put all of his interest into. His attack was the third attempt to take down Russia after Marx and Hadler. Hitler's success from the very beginning was surprising, as he said, "We have only to kick in the front door and the whole rotten Russia edifice will come tumbling down." By day 17 of the attack, 300,000 Russians were captured, 2,500 tanks, 1,400 artillery guns, and 250 aircrafts were captured and or destroyed. To any observer of military, Russia's army seemed like it could fully collapse at any minute, and Moscow was doomed to fall. But even with all of Germany's success, there were some issues. The German army was not prepared for the freezing weather conditions. They suffered about 775,000 casualties. Despite massive advances, Hitler's plans failed due to the Russian winter and was a huge turning point for the war.
The Battle of Leningrad was the most tragic time in history. It was 2.5 years of pure misery. The battle began on September 8, 1941. Hitler invaded Leningrad with the purpose to take over the city. It was technically a siege. It lasted until January 27, 1944. By winter, there was no heating, no water supply, little to no electricity, and almost zero food. In only 2 months, January and February, 200,000 people died of cold and starvation. Aside from these inhuman conditions and devastating losses, the industry still continued to work and the city did not surrender. Winter only had one positive effect. It allowed caravans to haul a decent amount of food and supplies over the frozen Lake Ladoga. It also provided an evacuation route for the weak and elderly. The loss of the population from death and evacuation decreased the strain on the remaining inhabitants. The food proportions were increased and the city's problems were stabilized. By January 1944, the Red Army pushed the German army away from Leningrad, allowing the city to celebrate the end of its siege. This is a turning point for Hitler because he is now being pushed back.
The Battle of Berlin, otherwise known as the Berlin Offensive Operation, was a very important battle because it essentially marked the end of World War II. Beginning in April 1945, the Soviets were split into 3 main groups. One attacked Berlin from the east, one from the south, and one which took over German forces in the north. This battle is known to be one of the bloodiest battles in World War II. The 2 leading generals racing to the German capital were Zhukov and Konev. Russia fired over 2 million artillery shells within a time span of just 3 weeks and then attacked the city. Each area was taken street by street, building by building. If the Russians were fired on or attacked on from a specific area within a building, they immediately destroyed it. On May 2, 1945, Berlin surrendered to Russia. Then just a few days later, on May 7th, Germany completely surrendered. During this battle, 80,000 Russian men were killed and 150,000 German men were killed. A soldier raised the red flag on top of the Reichstag building, which signaled the official end of the battle. It is believed that Stalin wanted to win over Berlin so badly because he wanted his secret police to reach the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute. This is where Germany's nuclear research program was located. It was said to have an important research product that could essentially ruin Russia's nuclear program. Meanwhile, Adolf Hitler remained hidden in his underground bunker. He had just recently married his wife Eva when he heard that the Russians were just days away from taking over. Instead of trying to escape, Hitler committed suicide with his barely 2-day-old wife. It is said that on April 30th, 1945, Hitler and his wife both swallowed cyanide capsules, and just to be sure, Hitler shot himself with his service pistol. He was not declared officially dead by the German court until 1956.